And at the center of the health care debate, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Our Karina Kling sat down with the senator to discuss repealing Obamacare and how Cruz is trying to bring Republicans together to get the job done.
The health care bill. Lots of talk about repealing and replacing Obamacare over the years. What if this does not get done?
Oh, look, if we fail to get it done, after 7 years of Republicans campaigning, promising if you elect us, we're going to repeal Obamacare, I think the consequences would be terrible. We've got to deliver on our promises. And what I've been spending this entire year doing is working, trying to bring Republicans together, trying to unite the Republican conference. We've got a very narrow majority in the Senate, just 52 Republicans. To pass this repeal bill, we've got to bring together at least 50 of the 52. That's not easy. And I think there are two things that should be our focus front and center. One, to the voters to repeal Obamacare. And two, critically, lowering premiums. The biggest reason so many millions of Americans, millions of Texans are unhappy with Obamacare is it's caused premiums to skyrocket. Average families' premiums have risen over $5,000 a year under Obamacare. That is an enormous problem. It's caused by the federal government. It's caused by the failures of Obamacare. We need to fix that, and the way you fix that is through common sense reforms that I've been advancing that expand choices, that expand options, that expand consumer choice to lower premiums and make health insurance more affordable for families who are struggling.
I want to talk about both of those, but first off, voters. What do you tell them then in 2018 if you aren't able to do that? Is this reason enough not to re-elect people?
My hope is we won't be facing that circumstance. I can tell you I am spending practically every waking moment, day and night, trying to unify senators, House members, the President, the administration, bring everyone on the same page. And I think the key to being unified is focusing on lowering premiums. I think that's the right inquiry, because if we can enact common sense reform so that a year, 2, 3 years from now, premiums are substantially lower than they are now, that's a win-win for everyone.
I want you to explain real quickly what your amendment would do and talk a little bit further about what the critics are saying.
So I've introduced what's called the Consumer Freedom Amendment. And what it does is it puts you, the consumer, in charge of your health care. And it says that you should be able to purchase the health insurance that you want. You should have more choices. And specifically what the amendment says is that if an insurance company offers a plan in a state that meets the Title I mandates, that it can also sell any other insurance plan consumers desire.
There's been a lot of concern about the fact that it could effectively eliminate protecting people with pre-existing conditions. So what do you say to the critics who are...
Look, I understand that concern. It's not accurate. The Consumer Freedom Amendment was designed to be a compromise between conservatives and moderates. Conservatives, by and large, would like to eliminate all the Title I mandates. Moderates, many of them, want to keep the Title I mandates. What the Consumer Freedom Amendment says is we'll leave the mandates in place. And in order for the amendment to operate, there has to be at least one plan in a state that meets all the mandates, so that it has the full, robust protections for pre-existing conditions. All of those stay in place. And all it's doing is adding additional options. It's taking nothing away, and it's adding additional options. And two things happen. Number one, for people who choose other options free of the mandates, their premiums will be substantially lower. It makes health insurance more affordable for them. And for the folks that want the full coverage of all of the mandates, this Senate bill provides tens of billions of dollars of funds, hundreds of billions of dollars, to provide direct assistance to people with serious medical conditions. So that rather than, if you take people who are really ill, Congress, there is widespread agreement that the federal government's going to provide really significant assistance to people who are very ill. Right now, what Obamacare does, the way it provides assistance, is it takes millions of people who are working people who are healthy, and it jacks up their premiums massively. And it takes that extra premium money and it cross-subsidizes the people who are sick. Now, I think that's not fair to the working people. Let's say you're a 28-year-old, you just got a job, you're starting your career, and your premiums are 2 times or 3 times what they should be, not to care for your health care needs, but to cross-subsidize others who are ill. That doesn't strike me as fair at all. If we're going to provide assistance for people that are ill, let's do it directly through federal taxpayer dollars. Let's use Warren Buffett's taxes instead of the 28-year-old making $30,000 a year. I think that's much more fair to everybody.
Been met with a lot of opposition at the town halls and even in Washington with what the Senate is trying to do with this health care plan. What do you tell voters? What do you tell to the people that are showing up to these town halls who are not happy with what you guys are doing and who say that Obamacare isn't as bad of a deal when we see what the Senate is doing?
Well, health care inspires a lot of passions because health care is personal. It's about you. It's about your family. It's about your health. I understand those passions. There are a lot of people who are genuinely and legitimately concerned. I understand. We've had now 7 years of robust public debate. We've had election after election after election, 2010, 2014, 2016, where Obamacare was front and center, a major issue of debate, and the voters repeatedly have concluded Obamacare isn't working. It's the biggest job killer in the country. We've seen now after 7 years, it's not working, it's failing. We're seeing Obamacare collapse all over the country. You know, 84% of the counties in Texas have 2 or fewer insurers available on the exchanges, and they're dropping out. We're seeing whole states where there are no insurers available on the exchanges. It's collapsing and it's not working. We've got to fix it, and the way to fix it is to repeal Obamacare and instead expand choices, expand options, lower prices, and put you in charge of your health care.
I just wanted to ask you about 2018 while I have you here. And the candidate running against you, the Democrat, Congressman Beto O'Rourke, has raised $1 million in the last 2 months. Any concerns from what you've seen so far with your opponent?
I think every elected official has an obligation to make the case to the people he or she represents as to why they should be elected, why they should be reelected. And so I am spending day after day after day crisscrossing the state of Texas, going and making the case to the people of Texas. I believe Texans want a strong conservative in the Senate. I believe Texans believe in free market principles, believe in free enterprise. I think Texans want a senator that fights for lower taxes, for lower regulations, for more opportunity, for small businesses to grow, for more jobs, for higher wages. I think Texans want a senator who fights to defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, free speech and religious liberty, and the right to keep and bear arms. But I will continue working every day from now to Election Day to make the case to the people of Texas and to work to earn their continued support. And I will tell you, it is the greatest privilege of my life to represent 28 million Texans and to have the opportunity to stand and fight for Texans, to fight for our freedom, to fight for more jobs, for more opportunity. My #1 priority is jobs and economic growth because I think that's the #1 priority of Texans. And I'm going to keep fighting for it and hopefully making the case to the voters as to why I should be reelected.
Some in-depth insights there.